What happened today, Alan?
Absolute Thunderbolt. I mean, this is the biggest story golf has seen, non-Tiger division this century, and there's been so many twists and turns in this tale, but we finally have something like a resolution. Many details still need to be worked out, but the war is over, and now it's about winning the peace, and it's going to be fascinating to see how this all plays out.
Well, why did the war come to an end?
It was unsustainable for both sides. The PGA Tour, to try and fight off this incursion from LIV Golf, had put all its chips in the middle of the table, but it was basically borrowed money. They were tapping the reserves they'd built up, and they were trying to squeeze all of their corporate sponsors for more and more support, and the sponsors were pushing back. And I think the tour realized we just can't keep going. I mean, AT&T just pulled out of the Byron Nelson, the Honda pulled out of the Honda Classic. Like the asking price has gotten much too high for the return on the investment. And for LIV Golf, it took a monumental effort to launch, and credit to them, they got this thing off the ground. But their ratings on the CW network were so abysmal, they stopped reporting them. I mean, I think they realized that it was just a limited audience for what they were proposing, and so they were on this path of mutually assured destruction, to use an old Cold War term, and it just made sense to finally put the egos aside and the grievances and the name calling and the lawsuits and all the related bitchiness, and just find a solution that was going to that would make sense for both sides and be sustainable for both sides.
And beneficial to both sides is neither gets deposed. No one in the Saudi government has to be deposed, and nobody in the PGA Tour gets sued for antitrust. Those go away. Everybody puts their, I guess, thoughts aside. And what does Jay Monahan say to Rory McIlroy and everybody who turned down that money by making peace with the organization that paid a whole bunch of his colleagues' money? Rory's out, if I'm not mistaken, $500 million at least. What does he say to them, Alan?
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Don't delete my phone number. There's still a way for these guys to get paid. I mean, so many details have to be worked out, but the LIV model is going to endure in some fashion, and they can still pay Rory and give him a franchise. They could even do that with Tiger, even as a non-playing captain. No doubt there's going to be some makeup money that's going to flow from the public investment fund into some of these top tour players who remained loyal and renounced and turned down the deals. But the gold rush is over. There's not much leverage anymore. I mean, how much they don't really need Rory McIlroy's blessing anymore. They don't need Jon Rahm. This is happening with or without them, and so they will try and make good in some fashion. But there's going to be some very hurt feelings, and it's not the Rahms and the Rorys. They're going to be okay either way. But it's like Ricky Fowler. He turned down $75 million from LIV Golf, and now he's been in this multi-year slump. He has no leverage. He has no bargaining power. There's a whole other class of player who they're not going to make it up to, and they missed out on a once in a lifetime windfall. So it's going to be a very complex negotiation for Jay Monahan and some of the other tour loyalists to try and work their way through these next few months and years as these guys, they bought into everything that the tour was selling, everything that Monahan was saying. But in the end, money always wins, and that's really the headline.
No, it might not be that they bought into what Monahan was selling. Maybe they didn't want to take the Saudi money. Maybe they had some sort of a principle that they didn't want to break. And now you're saying that there will be some sort of reparations slush fund funded by the Saudis that will be serve as a we're sorry, take all the money that we wanted to offer you and you didn't want to take from us. And is that really what you just suggested, Alan, might happen?
Well, I love that you're such an idealist, Rich.
I
mean,
am. I don't have to tell you. No, and I understand too is that the Saudis could come and buy the National Football League. You know what I mean? Like, and then what? And that's what a lot of people are I guess extrapolating today to mean. I mean, did the Saudis just buy golf, Alan? Did that just happen?
They bought a piece of it for sure, just like they've been buying English Premier football teams, and they've been hosting big time F1 races, and they've heavyweight boxing bouts, and everything from horse racing to snooker. I mean, the Saudis have just become bigger and bigger players in professional sports, and that makes a lot of people uncomfortable, rightly so. But it just is. I mean, they are a factor in modern life in any number of ways, whether it's a Boeing jet or taking an Uber or all these things that they've become part of the global economy, and sports is now been swept up in that. So, yeah, there's I think every sports league is going to have to gird themselves for this kind of intrusion, and sports fans as well. But if you look at what's happening in the English Premier Football, the teams that aren't owned, and it's not just the Saudis, also the Qataris, Egyptian. There's been a lot of Middle Eastern money that's flown into that sport, and the teams that aren't owned by those interests, the fans are bitter because they don't have the money to compete. Like if you're a team, whatever your favorite sport is, if there's no salary cap, this is like the Brewers competing against the Yankees, right? And so it's the calculus has changed. I mean, the insidious thing about sports washing is that it works, because over time people get tired of the debate, they get tired of the preaching, whatever it is. There's just a fatigue sets in, and people shrug their shoulders and say, okay, I guess this is just the way it is. And that's the long game that the Saudis have been playing here, and it's obviously been proven quite effective. So yeah, whether it was John Rahm or it was Rory or it was Tiger, they had their reasons for saying no to the LIV Golf offers, but LIV Golf is now the PGA Tour. They're one and the same.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.